Hello, my name is Dee, and today we are going to be doing a general reading, a general pick-a-card reading. So for my general readings, I typically try to focus on whatever it is that you need to know most right now, whatever it is that you need to hear most right now as well, and really just any other general messages from your guides, from spirit, that need to get through to you at this point in time. So at the beginning of the video, I should have had a clear picture of the crystals, and I will insert it at some point in here. So first up, we are going to have our selenite pile. Okay, then option 2 or choice 2, we will have our black tourmaline pile. And then we will have pile 3 or option 3 with our pyrite. Okay, so I'm pulling the cards as we go, so I don't have any of the cards pulled in advance. So if you chose selenite, this is going to be for you. Okay, so I'm going to get some tarot cards out here first and then pull some oracle cards as well, just to get you further guidance on whatever it is that my pile 1, my selenite people need to hear most right now and need to know most right now. Okay, pile 1. Okay, so we started off with the moon, and then the very next card to try to jump out, but it was jumping out with like 3 or 4 different cards, was the Two of Swords. So immediately there's very strong messages that you are perhaps very confused right now. This might be a very confusing time in your life. There might be something that you feel like is being hidden from you, or that is being hidden from you. Now with the further cards that are jumping out, the first thing that I heard was part of this is your potential. You might be in denial about your potential. You might be, for lack of a better way to put it, not really in alignment with your potential at this point in time. But that lack of alignment is more so a lack of recognition of your potential and your power over your current situation. So we have the Moon, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, the Ace of Cups, and then we have the Chariot in reverse, the Five of Cups, and the Three of Swords in reverse. So basically, right off the bat, this is indicating to me that there's a lot going on right now, perhaps in your life, and not a lot of it is pretty. So that makes a lot of sense that there'd be some sense of confusion, some sense of not knowing what to do, and not really being able to see your full potential, not being able to feel like you're in alignment, because it does seem like multiple things are out of balance at this point in time. The moon and then that flash of the Two of Swords, as I said, immediately brings through this message of there being something that you are in denial about, something that has not been uncovered or revealed to you at this point in time. I do feel like that is in reference to your potential or your self-worth, even, because we have the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse jump out next. So to me, this is very ungrounded energy. Even looking back at the moon is also a card of fear and anxiety. So to me, there is just this very anxious feeling. There's this very ungrounded feeling. There is a need for you to truly take time at this point in time to focus on yourself and to focus on your own healing. And we start to begin that message with the Ace of Cups. However, the Ace of Cups was also when I heard the word potential. So all in all, if you are feeling very ungrounded, if you are feeling out of alignment, out of balance, out of whack, if you have been suffering from something such as depression or anxiety, it makes a lot of sense why you can't see your own potential. Let's just say there's bigger things at play right now. For some of us, we might just be trying to survive or to make it through the day, which makes it very difficult for us to see our true potential, especially if our mental or emotional state is being afflicted at this point in time. And I do feel like that's something that's going on here. So I have this thing that I say a lot in my personal readings and collective readings that I've done elsewhere on Patreon and on Instagram, that I have this thing called the Big Six, and the Big Six is meditation, introspection, therapy, Reiki, self love, and self care. And I would highly recommend that you pick and choose from that list if for some reason you're not comfortable with all of the options. But definitely start to focus on meditative work and introspective work. Therapy is something that perhaps should be looking into, of course, if you're comfortable with that, and if your depression and anxiety are affecting your ability to, feel motivated, if it's affecting your ability to be able to live a normal life, or to feel healthy and fulfilled. Reiki is another great tool for coming back into balance and coming back into alignment. And then self-love and self-care, I practically always recommend. We move forward to the Chariot in reverse right after this message of healing and potential with the Ace of Cups. So with the Chariot in reverse, this is bringing me a very strong message of you perhaps not knowing when to start, which you can reach out. You can, DM me on Instagram, or you can email me. There's tons of guided meditations on YouTube, tons of Reiki practitioners. I'm also one of them. Ton of resources available to you online in general. Another thing with the Chariot in reverse is that perhaps this is also something that you are somewhat hiding from yourself or in denial about. One thing that I just heard was that shitty saying that people say where, what do you have to be depressed about? Or there's other people out there. The thing that I specifically heard was there's other people out there that have it worse than you. Because I feel like that's something that you either think, or that's something that you've been told by people around you. And pain, trauma, depression, anxiety is not a fucking competition. Whatever you're feeling right now, it is very real, and you don't have to justify the way that you are feeling with other people, especially if that's the type of mindset that they lead with. You need to begin leading with a healthier mindset than that. So to me, I do feel like there's some opposition or there's some denial. As I said, you may feel like your depression or anxiety is nothing to write home about, but within the scope of this reading, your guides, spirit, the universe is like, please fucking do something. Please begin to help yourself. Please begin to reach out to those around you. Google, YouTube, etc., etc. But there's something that needs to begin to happen as it pertains to your self-healing, so that you do not get more imbalanced or more so out of alignment than you already are. The other thing with the Chariot, actually, I think that's about it. That's the two main messages that I got. That you might be facing opposition from other people, and okay, so you might be facing opposition from other people. I think roped into that, there is that message of maybe facing opposition from yourself. You kind of turning a blind eye or trying to bury any of the emotional or mental issues that are occurring here. So that does get roped into that, but that was the third thing that I wanted to say, even though I did touch upon that. And then the other part of it is not really knowing where to start. I would say start small. I really recommend meditation, probably more than I recommend anything else, and self-love and self-care. But with that, start small. Start with a 5-minute guided meditation on YouTube. There's a shit ton of them. Some of my favorites on here are Jason Stevenson and Joe Tracy and Pura Rasa. So those are 3 great places to start, especially Jason Stevenson. As far as I've noticed, he has a lot of, he has a whole playlist of 5-minute meditations that I used to use to get me through the workday. So I would highly recommend just starting small, because when we move forward to the 5 of Cups, there is just this serious sense of holding on to pain, holding on to trauma, holding on to stress, holding on to grief even. Very ungrounded and emotionally and mentally, for lack of a better way of putting it, unstable energy coming in here. This is, very depressed, very anxious energy that is coming through here, and there's something that needs to seriously begin to happen in order to begin to alleviate and manage any symptoms that you might be feeling. We move forward to the Three of Swords in reverse. Three of Swords in reverse is recommending healing. It's asking for you to release the pain, release the trauma, which at this point might sound like a imagination land. You know, at this point, it might be very difficult for you to even wrap your mind around having to heal and having to release everything that you've been through, because you have been through a lot. However, you can start, I almost start a combined stop and start, but you can start today with just taking small steps toward living a healthier, more fulfilling life for yourself, for feeling more mentally and emotionally balanced. You can do grounding exercises such as going for a walk in the park, weather permitting, going for a swim, especially in a natural body of water. Although you can take a shower or a bath with the intention of having the water wash over your body and cause you to feel more grounded. Even my favorite way to ground myself if I'm having a particularly ungrounded day is just to step outside in my backyard barefoot and just touch my feet to the ground outside. And again, just setting the intention for that energy to ground me, that I feel safe, secure, stable, grounded, and that I'm steady on my own 2 feet. You know, it's a lot of this can be about intention as well, but there's definitely the need for you to ground yourself. And even with grounding, there's a ton of other, first of all, there's a ton of meditations, number one, and number two, there's a ton of other techniques that you can use. I'm just trying to use simple ones that might be accessible to most of us. So now we are going to move ahead and pull some oracle cards. There's just major healing work that needs to be done here, and major healing work can start off in little minor ways, let's say. Okay, so first card to jump out is Angel of Balance. Following that up, we have Caring Connection. So to me, this kind of goes back to something I briefly touched upon, which is reaching out to others. Do not be afraid to ask for help, especially from those in your life that have proven to be supportive, those who have proven to uplift you, and those who have proven to care about you throughout time. So, and then Angel of Balance, of course, goes into the big 6 that I'm going to continue to probably mention. Meditation, introspection, self-love, self-care, therapy, Reiki. We have Patience in reverse. We have Deceit in reverse, and we also have Adjacent Possibilities. I feel like Adjacent Possibilities probably should have saved saying the big 6 until I showed that card, but I feel like that's an indication that there are so many different ways that you can begin to start your healing process. There are adjacent possibilities here, and if something doesn't work for you, like let's say you've tried meditation 50 million times and it's just not your thing, there's something out there for you. Okay? The Deceit, well, the Patience card in reverse, I feel is indicative of this needs to start immediately. You know, that you need to start immediately. Start small, as I said, but there's work that needs to start to happen immediately. You can't continue to carry on to this. And that Deceit in reverse card, I feel like, is this indication of it, or what I am hearing is it's time to stop lying to yourself when it comes to the issues that you are perhaps having. It's time to stop lying to yourself. It's time to begin to get real with yourself, and it's time to begin to heal. Okay, this is not something that we can continue to brush under the rug in hopes that it goes away. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense. There's, as I said, major healing work that needs to occur, but you've got this. You've got this. Okay, and now I'm just going to pull a affirmation card to close out this reading. And I really, truly like them, especially with where we started. So we have the Loneliness card. And I'm sure it's not going to focus, so I will read it. Loneliness, I know that I am never alone. And we have Purpose. And Purpose says, I know what I am here to do. And I find the Purpose card to be very interesting because we did start with this message of you perhaps not knowing what it is that you want to do, or you not being able to see your own potential because of this unbalanced energy that's taking place here. So absolutely focus on your own healing. Absolutely reach out to those around you that have proven to be supportive, uplifting, and caring, loving, fulfilling relationships within your life. Know that you are not alone. Reach out for help when you need it, and that is going to be, when you start to begin to feel more balanced, that's when you are going to see how much unlimited potential you have to do whatever the hell it is that you want to do, or whatever the hell it is that you are here to do. And that is, when life is going to begin to feel a lot happier, healthier, and more fulfilling for you. Okay, so I hope that that made sense, my pile one, my selenite friends. And thank you so much if you have made it here to the end of this reading with me. I hope that you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Hello, so now we are moving on to option 2 with the black tourmaline. Okay, so option 2, pile 2, this one is for you. I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling my tarot cards. As I said at the beginning of this, the question that I ask here is, what do my option 2 people need to know right now? What is it that they need to hear most? And then just for any general messages or general guidance to come through from Spirit, the universe, your guides, whatever resonates most with you. Okay, any messages that my pile 2 needs to hear. And then after we do the tarot cards, we will be pulling some oracle cards as well. Okay, this isn't going to resonate with everyone, but one message that I just got was that, and this isn't good news, but if you recently went for a job interview, you might not get the job. But that's okay, because it's only further aligning you with your purpose. I don't think that job would have been a good fit for you anyway, so they can suck it. So we start off with the Ace of Swords and the Six of Pentacles in reverse, which was what did bring me that initial, and maybe this might even resonate for more than just a couple of people, or whoever watches this video, because the reading does begin to go into you finding something, if getting a job that is within your highest good, and a job that is going to bring you like potential growth opportunities. But so if you did just recently apply for a job, you might not get the job. I feel like that resonates for very few people. I feel like what's going on here more so is that you have the clarity that you need to know whatever it is that you are doing right now is not for you. Okay, you might be feeling overworked and underpaid. You might be feeling taken advantage of in some way. And this can also bleed into your personal life. You might be having clarity about certain relationships, friendships, familial relationships, romantic relationships, where you feel depleted of your time, effort, and energy, and you're not getting much of it reciprocated back to you. I overall feel like right now, because we have the Ace of Swords, and we also have the Moon later on in the reading, is basically indicative of you, perhaps really being in tune with your intuition right now and your inner guidance, and just generally you having a shit ton of mental clarity, which is always a beautiful thing to have. And I do feel like this clarity, perhaps you have been doing meditative work, perhaps you have been trying to, train and harness your intuition. And it's really making you see a lot about the situations and the other people within your life. And when we start to see more than we want to see, we might not always be seeing these people or these situations, these places, the way that we've always seen them. Right now, I do feel like this reading is focusing more so on work matters, or on opportunities within business, opportunities within your career, and opportunities within any creative ventures that you might have. So, as I said, I do feel like you are recognizing that whatever it is that you're doing right now is not for you. I do feel like, again, you feel underpaid, undervalued even. People aren't recognizing your potential and it's not sitting right with you. And people aren't seeing your potential. That's really starting to bother you because you know with this Two of Wands in reverse that you are not destined to play it safe. You're not destined to play the safe route. Safety, not like safety and security is not meant for you, but you're the type of person that just knows that you're here, let's say, for a greater purpose than whatever it is that you are currently involved with. And even in that regard, that can also be, pointing to certain family relationships, certain friendships, certain romantic relationships where you know that your worth is not being recognized and you know that it's about time to move on. There is a lot of fear, of course, that comes with taking a leap of faith. There's a lot of fear that comes with moving on. So that Two of Wands does bring with it this, it's basically this message of, oh shit, I realize that my worth is not being recognized. And now it's like, how the hell do I change it? How do I go about changing it? So, just before I move on though, I do want to say that in regard to your career, especially because we have the Six of Cups jumping out next, perhaps there is some type of creative venture that you have or some type of hobby that you're looking to make into a side gig, or you're trying to move your side gig into more of a full-time gig. And I do feel like that is something that's going to happen for you. It's just as though the path hasn't cleared yet. It's just as if there's still something standing in your way, and what's still standing in your way is yourself, and is that fear of change, it is that self-doubt, and that's something that you are going to need to begin to work through. Now, for people that feel like they don't have an exact purpose, or like haven't found their exact purpose rather, that's where the Six of Cups comes in. Six of Cups has to deal a lot with children. So I'm going to relate it to the inner child. I'm going to relate it to inner child healing, going back to activities, hobbies, places that you used to frequent a lot when you were a child, things that you thought that you were going to be when you grew up. And really working with your inner child, focusing on, meditating, healing, journaling, all pertaining to your inner child and healing it and reconnecting to your inner child, because that is going to be something that allows for the path to clear. So that's something important that's going on here as well. I also feel like as it pertains to people that are recognizing that they're being undervalued and overworked and underpaid at their perhaps day jobs, that that it's time to move on. It might be a little bit difficult to move on, but you're not wanting to play it safe anymore. Your desire to get out of your comfort zone is beginning to get stronger than the safety and security and the stability that you once gathered from that comfort zone. And what you're being urged to do is to focus on self-love and self-care. You're being urged to be kind to yourself, to be patient with yourself, to be compassionate with yourself in order to take these next steps forward. These next steps forward are only leading you toward greater clarity. It's also leading you toward a releasal, I don't know if releasal is a word. It's also leading you toward releasing fear, releasing anxiety, releasing self-doubt, and self-limiting beliefs. Okay, so with this pile, I would highly recommend, again, working with your inner child in whatever way works best for you, whether it be meditating, journaling, going back to activities, thinking back to what it was that you, again, wanted to be when you grew up. And that I feel like will be helpful for anybody, even people that know this day job isn't working for me and I want to take a focus on my creative venture. Six of Cups too is a very creative card as well. So to me, there's definitely inner child work that needs to be done here. I also want to bring up meditation, self-compassion, and really self-love and self-care as well. That's all going to be options, let's say, that lead you toward being able to release the fear and anxiety that keeps you from taking the next steps forward. Then we finish up with the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is a card that I absolutely love. This is leading toward you cultivating a life for yourself. This is leading toward you following what it is that you feel purposeful. Okay, there's some clarity that's just recently been found, or some clarity that needs to be found as it pertains to purpose, as it pertains to how you feel about yourself and your potential as well. Because whatever it is that you've got growing inside of you, it's got to blossom, or it's going to blossom, and you're being urged to follow through with this path with the Seven of Pentacles. Um, Absolutely follow through. I'm pretty sure that's a direct message that comes with the Seven of Pentacles. I also feel like this is indicating that you are starting a life and building a foundation, rather, to start a life upon. Okay, this is leading you toward further financial abundance, leading you toward further financial stability and security. Really, overall, you are taking the next step that you need to in order to feel more successful, in order to really utilize your unlimited potential that you have. So I hope that that made sense. I'm going to move ahead to the Oracle cards. I feel like there was a lot of different messages and kind of two different things going on there at once, really, depending on what part of the process you were in. Okay, so I'm going to pull some Oracle cards just to see what further messages come out. So let's see. But there's definitely clarity surrounding what it is that you no longer ever want to fucking do again in your life. And there's a lot of clarity surrounding what it is that you are aligning with, work that feels a lot more purposeful, work that you are a lot more passionate about, work that allows for you to have more creative freedom as well. Okay, so we have the woman holding a coin jump out in reverse. Okay, so just to start out, woman holding a coin in reverse, and door to personal happiness and healing in reverse. So to me, this is, again, you recognizing that your worth is not being recognized. And there might have been a lot of self-healing work that had to get you to that point. Okay, but the moral of the story is that right now you are perhaps not very happy and not feeling very balanced in regard to your career, especially. We move forward to the Temple Path. This would be meditation, introspection, self-love, self-care, therapy, Reiki. It would be working with your inner child, anything else that I mentioned before, even cultivating an abundance mindset. But this is something that you really have to, even also harnessing your intuition, utilizing your intuition. This is really calling for you to take a focus on self-healing as well. Especially when we now move forward to the heart chakra in reverse. That can indicate that there is a lack of self-compassion, that there might be a lack of self-love, a lack of self-forgiveness. So there's a necessity for you to focus on some healing work, perhaps work with your heart chakra and meditative work, to help to, first of all, to help you to feel more compassionately toward yourself, because for some of you, you might be feeling like, I put myself in this mess. At least that's a message that I'm picking up on now. And then the Angel of Love in reverse just jumped out, and then Hostilities is at the bottom of the deck. So don't blame yourself for this, please. Like, I feel like now there is this fraction of people, perhaps those who have made it toward the end of this recording, blame themselves in some sort of way for the position that they are currently in, and desperately want to take that leap of faith, but don't know if they can, let's say, financially afford to. I do feel like you are being divinely guided toward whatever your purpose or your passion is. Finishing with the Seven of Pentacles, seeing the first chakra or the root chakra jump out, you are going to be better off than you think that you are when it comes to taking any leaps of faith, when it comes to perhaps leaving a career and moving forward into another career, when it comes to leaving a 9-to-5 and stepping into your side gig full time. Those are the steps that you're being divinely guided to take. So absolutely focus on the self-healing work first, but that self-healing work is only going to further align you with going forward toward whatever it is that you want to go forward toward. And another thing that I want to say too in regard to comfort zones is there's this thing that I keep hearing or keep seeing online that says something how when you start to become out of alignment, or like when the universe is trying to push you out of your comfort zone, it starts to feel more and more uncomfortable. And I feel like that's what's starting to happen here. That might have even sparked a want to harness the intuition. That might would have even sparked the clarity of how shittily you're being treated at these places or with these people or in these situations, especially in the workplace. You're starting, or you're growing to be much more uncomfortable perhaps than you ever have been before within that situation, and it's propelling you forward. So even with that, I would ride the wave. I would ride the wave if you can, and really begin to focus on what is going to be a happier and more fulfilling career path for you, because that's really the trend that's happening here. And now I am just going to pull at least a card from this oracle deck that has affirmations, just to get one last message. Okay, so the first card to jump out is worry and surrender. I love these. I love closing out with these. Okay, so the worry card says, I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. Okay, so release that control. And it's funny that I say that because we have the surrender card. I wasn't even looking at what it says. Surrender. I can release my need to control. Okay, so there's definitely a control issue happening here that needs to be released. You're not going to be able to control every step along this new path that you are embarking on. You're not going to be able to control any of these outcomes. And it's really time for you to begin to move forward as best that you can. Focus on that self-healing work first. Work with your inner child. But the more that you're in this comfort zone, or what was once a comfort zone to you, unfortunately, I do feel like the more uncomfortable you're going to become. But that is only propelling you forward. That's only propelling you closer to your highest good, closer to your life's purpose, and closer to utilizing the unlimited potential and personal power that you have over your own life. So thank you so much, pile 2, my black tourmaline pile. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much if you have made it this far with me into this reading, and I hope that you all have a very wonderful day. Hello, my option 3 or pile 3 pyrite people. So today we are going to be doing a general reading. For the general reading, again, I ask whatever it is that my pile 3 people need to know. Whatever it is that they need to hear most right now, whatever it is that they need to know most right now, and just general messages from Spirit, your guides, the universe, whatever it is that resonates with you most. Okay, so let's see, what does pile 3 need to know? Okay, and after we pull some tarot cards, we are going to go ahead and pull a couple oracle cards too. Okay, so we started off with Judgment and the 4 of Pentacles, so immediately that can indicate to me that you have made a decision to release something or someone from your life. Okay, so I see what it is that you're doing is perhaps releasing blockages that you've been focusing on, introspective and meditative work. You have been focusing on making decisions that are going to benefit you and bring you closer to financial abundance and emotional abundance as well. So as you've been releasing what could also just be gunk, built up trauma, you've perhaps been releasing deep-seated issues and past issues that you no longer want to carry around with you. You've been releasing, burdens and baggage. It seems like you've done a lot of work already in order to, release the things that no longer serve you, and you are moving forward with passion. You're taking action at this point. I also feel like what this could all be indicating here as well is that you've become an active participant. And like, as weird as that sounds, what I heard was, and you've become an active participant in your life. So you may have just been letting life pass you by in a sense. You might have been held back by doubts, by trauma, by pain, heartbreak, and so on and so forth. But now you're really taking action. You're taking this divine inspired action in order to change your life. I feel like that's in a healing sense. I also feel like that's in a, releasing sense. Like you might have recently quit a job. You might have recently broken up with someone or been broken up with, and you just don't want to hold on to that pain or that trauma anymore. You're releasing it, and you have released it, and now you're taking action, and you're moving forward toward a path that is more so in alignment with what it is that you want it from life, and what it is that you want in life, and who it is that you want to be within your life. So there's this very passionate energy. It also kind of feels like, especially with pages, sometimes I look at them as like little kids or adolescents even. So to me, it's almost like this, like I just turned 18 or I just turned 21 and now I can go run and be wild and be free. And that's what this energy feels like in a childlike, it's like this childlike energy that's very like very, oh my goodness, what's the word, just this very optimistic, passionate energy that's going on here. And it's childlike in the sense that you feel like you are living your life once again, and it's really a powerful thing. That's what I wanted to say. It's very powerful type of energy that's coming through here. We then move forward toward the Queen of Pentacles and the Six of Wands in reverse. So I feel like a lot of this healing work that you have been doing pertains to your self-worth, and how you feel about yourself, how you look at yourself. So in the past, that could have been even the deep-seated issues in and of themselves. You might have held yourself back because you did not deem yourself worthy. You might not have thought yourself worthy of abundance. You might not have thought yourself worthy of a healthy, happy, fulfilling relationship. You might not have felt yourself worthy of, going after the job opportunity that you wanted. But this is the type of energy that you are leaving behind. And you're moving forward now with confidence. You're moving forward now with confidence. You're moving forward toward this Ten of Pentacles, and Ten of Pentacles is a card that I look at as long-term emotional fulfillment and long-term financial abundance. So you're leaving behind a lot of the gunk that occurred in your past. You're also leaving behind, it's really just this fresh, new, fun, and exciting type of energy that is coming through here. King of Swords in reverse jumped out. To me, that can indicate a lack of routine. So, I'm happy that I pulled more cards. So, remember when I was saying there's like this fresh, fun, childlike, adolescent energy of like, I just turned 18, or I just turned 21. So we have King of Swords, Three of Cups, Five of Swords. So maybe you did just break up with somebody and you're like, okay, now it's time for me to go out with the gals or the guys. Maybe it's time for me to go out there and party with that Three of Cups. That's okay, but don't use it as a form of self-sabotage where you're self-sabotaging the abundance that you could be drawing in because you're too focused on things outside of it. And it's not just, going out and partying. It can be a variety of things that you might be focusing on, like you might be spending too much time on social media versus applying for jobs, or you might be you know, etc. So, but basically anything that could be considered overindulgent, you might be indulging in versus doing something such as, you know, making a routine for yourself or a schedule for yourself in order to further align you with what your purpose is. Okay, and you're doing that as a form of self-sabotage. So even though you've done a lot of this healing, releasing work, that self-sabotage is still here to play, and that's something that you need to get reins over. Because you're living your goddamn life and you're having a great fucking time doing it, and that's a-okay. Everybody needs to have fun. Everybody needs to focus on their own enjoyment. I feel like what these final 3 cards that I just felt called to pull are indicating is to be balanced when it comes to the next steps in your life, let's say. To focus on balance first and foremost, because you don't want to be overindulging in any type of activity as a form of self-sabotage that takes you away from focusing on your purpose, especially because the Page of Wands is a card that's also indicative of aligning with your purpose, aligning with what your passions are, following your passions, finding your passions. And to me, at times, or upcoming, if it's not occurring right now, upcoming into the near future, there might begin to be a very thin line for you between finding and following your passions and, you know, overindulging in things that don't, in new things, but overindulging in new things that don't exactly serve you, especially if you were feeling rather constricted before. So have fun and enjoy yourself, but don't allow these new activities or these new people, these new places, these new situations to take such precedence that you continue to leave yourself behind, and you're not focusing on what it is that you want to do and what it is that you need to do. Okay, I hope that that made sense for some of you. So now we are going to move forward to the oracle cards. I do feel like overall, in general, there's just this very strong message, actually, that I just got of that you are so close to either aligning with or finding or journeying on that path to your purpose, or you might be well into that journey on your way to your purpose. And there's all these distractions coming up, and it's basically this: don't allow these distractions to don't allow these distractions to distract you, but don't allow these distractions to be used or to act as a form of self-sabotage to keep you from your goal. Okay, continue to make those small, manageable goals until you hit your goal. Continue on this journey, on this path toward your long-term financial and emotional abundance. So I hope that that made sense. We're going to be pulling some oracle cards for y'all, my pile 3. And let's see what comes out here. Ooh, that was a crap shuffle. Okay, so what does pile 3 need to know right now? What do they need to hear? Okay, so we have the woman holding a heart. Again, I'm going to relate this to that finding your passion, finding your purpose. You've really found something that speaks to you. You find something that sits right with you, something that feels in alignment toward you, and you're following on that path. And you're also, as cheesy as it sounds, following your heart, especially as it pertains to your passions and your purpose. Then we have adjacent possibilities and strategy in reverse. Strategy in reverse brings me to, or back to, this message that you might not have a routine, or you might not even have goals set in place. You might have that end goal, but you don't have the steps to get you there. There's not a routine taking place. There needs to be routine. There needs to be some type of structure, budget, whatever it is that pertains to whatever it is that you're doing. But you need to have some structure, because you're just barreling through, or not doing much of at all, depending on what day it is. You know, there needs to be structure and there needs to be routine in order for you to find this success that you are looking for. The adjacent possibilities also indicates to me, though, that there are many different ways to get you there. Okay, that you have many different options readily available to you right now. It's just about finding them. And perhaps it's even just about making a damn routine and going at it. So to me, the adjacent possibilities is that there are many options. There's many different ways for you to get to your end goal. I also feel like, again, that's in reference to the routine, or perhaps the lack thereof a routine. Lack thereof of a routine. Just because, we have a card that has flown out. But, it's almost like you're leaving too many things up in the air. Or that adjacent possibilities, it might actually at times be very overwhelming to you. And another one flew out. Okay. The other message is that there might be so many options or so many things that you need to get done that you are now overwhelming yourself because you don't know, since you don't have a routine or you don't have a structure to this, you have no idea where it is that you're moving forward toward. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. There's so many options, there's so many adjacent possibilities, there's no strategy, no routine, no structure, and that's causing you to feel very overwhelmed at times. And with that, we have the goddess of the moon in reverse. To me, this can indicate, just again, there's this lack of structure, and there's also this lack of listening at times to your inner guidance. I also feel like that can be an act of self-sabotage that is perhaps taking place here. You've done a lot of the work. You've made this decision to release a lot of this gunk. You are following your passion, following your purpose, but there's still these acts of self-sabotage that are taking place here. Maybe inherently what the next step in your process is, and you are just self-sabotaging and, overindulging or focusing too much on things that don't matter rather than doing that little task to get you there. Maybe it's like a procrastination thing, and so on and so forth. But to me, there's still these, little acts of self-sabotage that keep popping up throughout this reading. We have yin and yang jump out next. So to me, this is indicative of really having to get in alignment harness and utilize your intuition, because the yin cycle is focused on when this card is upright, and you need to be receptive to what is coming in so that you can begin to take that divine inspired action toward your goals. So right now, one of the main focuses is absolutely going to have to be on connecting more and reconnecting more to your inner guidance. If you have perhaps been spending all of your time with friends, family, loved ones, etc., like the Three of Cups might dictate, like the Three of Cups might put out there, let's say, it's time to get routined, it's time to get structured, it's time to perhaps come up with a meditation routine or, a journaling routine that helps you to connect further to your intuition. But there's a need for you to begin to release now these little acts of self-sabotage that keep seemingly cropping up throughout this reading. If you've been spending a lot of time with friends, family, loved ones, that's a beautiful, wonderful thing, but don't allow that to hold you back from creating the routines and reaching the goals that you want to reach. Okay? That it might be time for you to spend some more time with yourself, focusing on yourself, finding time and making space and time for yourself, by yourself, to yourself. So I do feel like the couple of things that have come up here, there's a need for you to recognize the amount of possibilities that you have when it pertains to where you are now to where you want to be. I feel like there's a need for some routine or strategy. There's a need to release some of these self-sabotaging tendencies as well that are taking place here. So, and really, I guess also connect with that yin cycle, so that when it comes time to taking the divine inspired action, you're in a place to be able to do so. And I feel like it all kind of correlates with one another, that there needs to be some structure, some routine made here. There needs to be this release of self-sabotage. But there's been so much work that you have already done. There's been so much work that's been done. You are making decisions that are bringing you closer and closer and closer to what your end goal is. But right now, it does just seem to be a lot of sabotage-like behaviors keeping you from that end goal. Okay, so I hope that that made sense. Now, as we move forward, I'm going to pull a card or two from this oracle deck that has affirmations on it. And this top one just really wants to come out. So I will grab that guy. Okay, so let's close this out with the affirmations. I've loved the ones that have come. Ooh, I love both of these too. I have loved all of the affirmations that have come out from these cards today. So first one, perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Okay. Hopefully that resonates. And freedom. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. Okay, I'm sure neither one of them focused as I would have wanted them to. However, perseverance and freedom, I feel like, are two things that are taking place here. There is that need to persevere through and to begin to further align yourself with your purpose, because you've definitely found it. And that freedom, you are accessing the power and the free will to do exactly what it is that you want to do and to be exactly who it is that you want to be. Do not allow these little acts of self-sabotage, these little acts of overindulgence, this big act of not having a structure or a routine to get in your way of your own happiness, basically. So I hope that that resonated, and if you have made it this far with me, pile 3, thank you so very much. This is pretty much the end, so thank you so much, pile 3, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.